My name is Emily, and I'm 33. I'm a registered nurse at the local hospital. My job is all about caring for people who are sick or injured. It can be really demanding, with long shifts during the day and sometimes overnight. But honestly, I wouldn't trade it. I find it so rewarding to help people get better. Until last year, my life was pretty predictable. I was single, didn't have a ton of close friends, and lived in a small apartment by myself. I was always working, and when I wasn't, I was usually visiting my mom. She lives in a quiet town about an hour away, and since she's getting older, I like to check in on her and help out around the house. Everything was comfortable, but maybe a little too routine. Then, Dr. David Miller joined our team at the hospital. He's a couple of years younger than me, maybe 31, and definitely easy on the eyes. He's got that classic all-American look, tall, with brown hair and these bright blue eyes. Plus, he's got a great smile. All the nurses were buzzing about him because he was so approachable and kind. At first, I didn't think he'd give me a second glance. I'm not exactly a supermodel type. I'm average, you know. I don't spend hours on my hair and makeup, and my wardrobe is more practical than fashionable. I just figured he'd be interested in someone different. But then, Dave started singling me out. He was always super nice, asking how my day was going, making eye contact, and just generally being friendly. I was surprised, honestly. I didn't expect him to notice me, let alone take an interest. One evening, he asked if I needed a ride home. I said yes, and we ended up chatting the whole way. He has this comfy SUV, and we talked about everything: work, our families, even silly stuff like our favorite TV shows. It was surprisingly easy to talk to him, and I felt lighter and happier than I had in ages. After that, David started offering me rides regularly. Sometimes he'd bring me a coffee or tea during my shift, and we'd grab lunch together in the cafeteria, just talking. I found myself really looking forward to seeing him each day. Then, one weekend, he asked if I wanted to catch a movie. I was off that day, so I said yes. We went to the local movie theater, and afterward, we took a walk in the park. We talked for hours, and I felt this spark, this real connection. I started to wonder if maybe, just maybe, he liked me as much as I liked him. Then, a few days later, he dropped a bombshell. "Emily, I need to be honest with you. I'm married." My jaw practically hit the floor. I had no idea. He never mentioned a wife, and he wasn't wearing a ring. He explained that he'd been married to his wife, Sarah, for about 5 years. They didn't have any kids. He admitted that he wasn't happy. They didn't share any interests, rarely spent time together, and just weren't on the same page anymore. He said that spending time with me made him feel good, that I was easy to talk to, and he enjoyed my company. I was completely thrown. All years at Shiro, at Hawati, Okeston Stat in Sona Y. I really liked David, but I would never want to be that person. I kept replaying the conversation in my head. Why me? Why would he be interested in me when he had a wife already? His wife was probably amazing, and I just couldn't figure out why he'd choose to spend time with me. I spent days in a fog, unsure whether to continue seeing him or cut things off. Then one day, I went to the grocery store to pick up a few things. As I was walking down the cereal aisle, I heard a familiar voice. It was David. I glanced over and saw him with a woman. I automatically knew that it was his wife, Sarah. She was beautiful, stylish, and looked like she had it all figured out. They were laughing and smiling, and honestly, they looked like the picture of a happy couple. I felt this pang of sadness of something. I quickly turned around and left without them seeing me. I went home and just sat there, feeling completely confused. Why was he spending time with me if he seemed so happy with his wife? I really had to think about my situation. I refused to be the other woman. I needed to figure out the right thing to do, but it was really hard. I knew that I needed to talk to David to get some clarity. Later that night, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. I just kept replaying everything in my head. His kindness, the fun we had, and that picture of him laughing with his wife. I simply couldn't understand why David would choose to be with me when he had such an amazing wife at home. The next day at work, I felt drained and just wanted to hide. I dreaded seeing David, but knew I had to confront him. He greeted me with his usual warm smile as if nothing was out of the ordinary, but I couldn't return it. I needed answers. "David, we need to talk," I said. A confused expression washed over his face. "What's wrong, Emily? Chill. Oh, canals are being stress rush," he asked. No, well. "I saw you at the store with your wife," I responded. "You looked so happy." "I don't understand why you've been spending time with me, if you're happy with her." David's smile faded. "I'm not happy, Emily," he said. "Sarah and I don't have the same connection that you and I do. When I'm with you, I can be myself. You make me feel alive." I didn't know what to say. I cared about David, but I would never want to be the reason someone's marriage fell apart. I decided that I needed some time to process everything. I told him that I needed some space. For the next few days, all I did was think. I opened up to my best friend, Jenna, and shared everything that happened with David. Jenna has always been super supportive of me. She has also been brutally honest at times, and this was one of those moments. She told me, "Emily, you deserve someone who can be with you fully. Don't settle for less." I knew she was right. I had to put my own happiness first and determine what I truly wanted out of life. A week later, I received a phone call from David. He asked to meet up to chat. I was nervous, but I knew it was time to be straightforward. We decided to meet at a park, and I told him exactly how I felt. "David, I care about you, but I can't continue on with this," I said. "You need to figure out what you want. If you're not happy with Sarah, you should discuss that with her, but I can't be the other woman." David had a sad look on his face, but seemed to understand. "I care about you, Emily," he said. "I will give this some thought. I want you to be happy." We hugged and said goodbye, and as I walked home, I felt a mix of emotions. Sadness and disappointment, but also strength and pride. I knew I made the right decision, even though it was difficult. Life is full of tough choices, but you have to remember to choose what's best for yourself. Sometimes, that means walking away from something that seems good on the surface, but is ultimately not right for you. If you enjoy the story, please like, subscribe, and share.